So how are you doing? Harder? Getting harder? There's a lot of work to do. Have you done the outline yet? You have outline? The title outline, right?
I was doing like last week, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. So you are working on the paper. Okay. So today we talk about the what we call the Chinese modification of the samatha, the vipassana. Is the essence still the same, but the way they explain is a bit different. And of course, until or unless you practice, you could recognize the benefit of that. Otherwise, of course, when you learn, especially here in the school, you may not feel much benefit yet. But later on in your life, if you could sit down and really practice this kind of techniques, it's really helpful, it's really beneficial. Later on, probably a couple of weeks from now, we learn about the modern mindfulness practice. Most of the time, they don't talk much about this kind of we call it deep level, of profound levels of meditative state of mind. Most of the time, we will take when you sit there, you calm your mind, you free up anxiety and so forth. It's just on the surface. But if you learn this kind of techniques and theories, this is more deep down. That's why we have this course for you now. Okay, so let me go back to, I think this one is just more important. GE is one of the most famous Chinese monk that contemporaries with Bodhidharma. So he used the breath sutra that the Buddha taught. Remember the breath sutra we studied last time? Is Buddha say that we have to contemplate the body, the feeling, the mind, and the mental object that we learned before. So discern or recognize the in and out breathing, long or short, whole body, and so forth. And the feeling of rapture, pleasure, and so forth. Experience the mind, the study of the mind. So he utilized this kind of sutra to write his own essays. But of course, through his own experience to explain in different ways. It is more adaptable for the Chinese audience. So he provides again the graduate personal contemplation is similar. Around the book, we see that. So we just go with the mindfulness practice in daily life. What's the number?
Number 11.
Let me skip this one. The important thing I want to mention is that he elaborates more ways how to handle the practice of breath meditation. And here he proposed what we call some 25 skillful device. Like before you do meditation, you have to take care of the food. The way you consume the food, the way you wear the clothes, observe the precepts, stay alone at a quiet place, avoiding dispute, relationship, having spiritual friends. For example, let's say it's better to do meditation early morning or late at night, not during the day. You know why? Especially right after lunch. Why?
Sleep.
Yeah. That's what he's talking about. If we eat too much, right, we may be sluggish and we could not concentrate well because the body needs to absorb the foods and the closing too. Then when you go to our center to do meditation, especially when you sit on the floor, if you wear the blue, navy pants is better than other pants. So that some kind of yoga clothes is better, so that your body can be observed. And stay alone at a quiet place is helpful too. Of course, when you have steady mind, wherever you go, you can control your mind. But if your mind is so unstable, it's better to stay in a quiet place. So you see the difference between the energy, right, in the school and energy as well as to compare with the energy at the temple and so forth. Or you can stay in the wood, you can stay in a backyard and so forth to calm your mind, avoid learning, and especially dispute relations. Let's say if you have some kind of argument with your friends, a couple hours before you sit there, it's not easy to calm your mind. So it's better, it's helpful, it's better to let them go beforehand, and when you calm down your mind, it's helpful too for you to deal with those kind of situations. And you have a spiritual friend, so that you go to school, if you go to whichever engineer major or whichever major, you have friends. So there is a spiritual life, you may have spiritual friends. And of course, before, remember that they use the meditation to help people to get out of the birth cycle. That's the ultimate goal. But nowadays it's different. You understand that? It's more spiritualized inclination in the past than nowadays. Nowadays we use meditation how to calm the mind, how to relax and release our stress and so forth. So that's why its two goals are quite different. So that's why if you read this kind of explanation, it's geared toward the spiritual life than the secular one that we utilize later on. A couple of weeks from now, we learn about modern mindfulness to see a bit different. So that's the real goal, the ultimate goal of the one who does meditation, so that they can be free of any kind of obstruction, any kind of mental fluctuations or emotions. Are you in? Yeah. Okay. You're fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So don't be surprised why it's go too deep, too profound, like I told you, because the ultimate goal is to transform all of the mental affliction. That's the point. That's why it goes deeper in the state of mind. So later on we talk about this one too. It's more practical. So here it's similar in the theoretical traditions against the temptation from science and so forth. Resist destructive influence desire. It's the same thing. The same thing that we learned before. It's not much different. I judge food, need to stop, stay yourself. If you stop yourself, you couldn't sit last time, right? If you are hungry, you couldn't sit still. If you eat too much, you feel asleep. I judge your breath. And when we talk about this one, we talk more about this. Okay, and this is what we call 4 types of samadhi. This is just general. The first one is constant sit in samadhi. So in the past, that's their routine work, routine practice. They may sit for 90 days straight. Of course, if they need to go to the restroom, yes, that's a break, or go to eat, that's a break too. And constantly walking samadhi. Here, this is another one that I'm talking about constantly in the mind. So this Thursday, you guys got my email, right? I have some modification in the syllabus because it seems to me that somehow this is a little bit harder for you guys. So I want to lessen the requirements, and so that you can understand bit. So on this Thursday we talk about what we call the visualization of the Buddha realms, and what we call the chanting or mantra recitation or chanting the Buddha name. So whenever you go to the Chinese or Vietnamese temple, if you see the elderly people, especially elderly people, you see most of the time they chant this name, Namo Amitabha, automatically. And when if you see them put palm together, they say Namo Amitabha, and that is the name of there. This is ultimately built in their what we call the faith already. So this is not a way how to calm the mind. So we will talk about that. So even now, I know there's someone in China, Taiwan, and Vietnam. They keep walking for 90 days, deciding Amitabha Buddha's name. But this is not a practice. This is a serious practice. And half walk, half sit samadhi. They spend half time of walking, half time of sitting. And of course, this is the order to have samadhi. Remember chanting the sutra, vision of the Buddhist album, concentrate on contemplation, and so forth. So again, for the Buddhist people nowadays, whenever they come to temple, you would not see them sitting still. Most of the time they recite the Buddha name, they do the chanting, they do the prostration and spin bowing. So I think some of the students, I don't know if this class or other classes, when they went to the other Zen center, they saw that. That's kind of routine practice. It's simple. It's in the sense of meditation too, in the form of different meditation too. All right, here the lotus. This is in general preparation stage. Clean one sin. Sin is the karma. Actually, in Buddhism we don't use this term, but sometimes they use this one. It's like other religions too. You need to defend your karma. It's not a thing that is different from other traditions. This is nothing that you ask the Buddha to forgive your sin, your mistake, but you have to cleanse yourself. You have to change yourself, because you know the karma, whichever you do, will get that effect. And pray all the Buddhas in the universe to come into one present. And so basically, when we come to Mahayana traditions, yes, we reveal or respect the Buddha and Bodhisattva in tremendous way. It's quite different from the other traditions. Rejoice over and praise the materialist wood, taking the vow, direct one man toward and attainments of Buddhahood and so forth. So remember, this is the Buddhist meditation, Mahayana Buddhist tradition. The goal is to become Buddha, attain to Buddhahood. So whichever thing they do, they would transmit their merits, that kind of energy toward that goal. And this is, and these are the ones to purify the place, purify the body. You know why? Why when you come to our Buddhist center or Zen center, especially the Eastern one, that you're supposed to keep, to take off your shoe. You know why, right?
Keep the cleanliness. Right?
Yeah, sign of respect, right?
Huh?
It's a sign of respect.
It's a sign of respect, and what else? The cleanliness too.
Yeah, sanitation wise.
How about in the Spanish tradition, do you have that? Take off your shoe before you enter the house of other people? No?
I
Okay.
just see it mostly in Asian culture.
Oh, Asian culture.
And Indian also, which is also Asian. And just people who are just anal. So people, I guess most likely would be an Asian culture,
Oh, really?
or it varies by races. just depends on someone's particularity to having shoes in their home.
My mom does that.
Yeah, so
they
it's
used
fine.
to leave them outside, but then like someone came by and stole everyone's shoes.
Shut up.
Seriously.
What?
Someone came and stole all our shoes that we had left outside the front door.
Oh,
What?
So now we leave them inside by the front door. Yeah, my mom was like super tense about it. She was like
Who
who
steals
was
shoes?
this? Yeah.
Actually, when they came to this area, I noticed that someone who worked for the internet company, like Comcast, AT&T, and so forth. So that when they come to them, they know the courtesy.
Mhm.
They wear some kind of what they call cover the foot,
The plastic
Yeah.
to cover the feet. Yeah.
the shoe. I would not see up there in this west or in the north. Somehow, yes, in this kind of diverse communities, we know that. Anyway, so that is one. And some tradition that actually I've been in the Catholic Church before too. They have this. It's not the sink, right? It's the bowl water. Is that right? When you come to use. What do you do that? I forgot. That you sprinkle the water.
Baptisms?
What's that?
Oh,
Baptism?
baptism.
No, that's not baptism.
The holy
I
water?
don't talk about that.
The
Huh?
holy water.
Holy water.
Where
I
they
mean
go
that.
like that.
No. In Louisville, there's big church. Assumption of Louisville. So when we walk into the door, the big door, and they put some kind of fountains, yeah, I think they fountain water, so that people can clean their hands, or I don't know.
Yeah, they have it at the Catholic churches. When you walk in, there's like little bowls on the wall,
yeah.
and you dip it and you do the
Oh, yeah.
cross, or you can put it in your hands because it's
The same.
holy water. Yeah.
The same way in Buddhist way, and especially somehow when they saw, I've been at the Catholic monastery in St. Paul, and when they did the ceremony, they use incense. They squint, they squint incense to purify the church. Exactly the same way as the Buddhist way. So this is what they call purify the place, purify the body, and sometimes even me too. Whenever I do special celebration, I have to sprinkle the water with the mantra recitation. Yeah, and so that's the way honor, purify the body, keep the body clean, honor the Buddha in this food, calm the Buddhas. And so this is deal with more with the religion. So don't be surprised, right? So this is because I want to emphasize one more time. In the past, the ultimate goal is to become Buddha. Ultimate goal is to attain Nirvana, but now it's different. Now we don't need that kind of goal. We just need to utilize mindfulness practice to cool down the mind. That's all. So that's why many people from different traditions they just use the Buddhist practice of breath meditation is far enough for them. But for the Buddhist people, it's different. But another thing I want to mention is here. Okay, I want to skip this one. 10 object of contemplation is similar to the object that we learned before, right? The skandha, the object of the mind, the object is ambition, focus our mind and recognize whichever mental affliction we may have. The object of illness, when we have some kind of illness, we recognize life is impermanent. Object of karma mind, some illness may relate to former actions. So when we study about this, then you need to understand some kind of Buddhist concept too. Of course, this is not the requirement for this class, but still give you this kind of information. Objects of demonic forces. Here, in the West, they may not talk much about this spiritually, but when you really practice meditation, when you go deeper into your state of mind, all kind of energy over there that may attract you, that may support obstruct you. All kind of energy, all kind of vibrations. So that's why they talk about this what called demonic forces. Let's say when you study for the test tomorrow, right? Let's say you go to the library to study for the test tomorrow, but somehow you meet your friends. The one say, "Oh, can you come by, stop by my house to join my birthday party? Would you go?
No.
Would you go? No way." But this is kind of temptation too, right? Yeah. Okay. So you need to balance out. You have two choices: either stay home to study, or go to a party with your friends. Of course, you know the consequence. Yes, if you go to party to have fun with your friends, yeah, later on you may fail the test. But if you study for the test, you don't have fun. So in Buddhist view, that's kind of temptation. This is similar demonic force. You need to balance out. You need to know whichever way you deal with in the more fruitful and more beneficial for you. And even sometimes while you study there, right, especially in the library or somewhere at home, something may occur that may disturb your concentration. Like something happened to your friends, happened to your family members, or happened to your classes. It may disturb your mind. Or even when you, especially when you sit there, last time we watched the clip about the fly, right? Of course, in this room, in the school building, we will not see the fly. But if you really go deep down with your spiritual practice, some kind of, in every tradition, they say some kind of demonic force there, obstruction force there. This is the life, right? One is, we have two sides of the coins. Someone support us, someone obstruct us physically, and of course mentally. We say some force, some energies may support us, and other energy may obstruct us. So to that, well, okay. So let me. Okay, this is the other ways to object of the dhyana concentration, object force field, object of overwhelm pride. You have to overcome the pride, not to attach to either pose, and object of Bodhisattvahood. This one I want to show you so that you can understand briefly. Here, 10 modes of contemplation. Okay. Let's see here. The first one, contemplating object as inconceivable. Here, contemplating object as inconceivable. In one sutra, it says that the mind is like the artist. You know artist, right? The artist can draw anything. So there is a mind. Whether it's good, bad, beautiful, ugly, and so forth. So in that particular sutra, the Buddha said, the mind is like the artist. We draw everything. We create everything from the mind. So that's why, in Buddhist view, if you want to learn about Buddhism, it's to study about the mind. So there is psychology. We talk about the mind, study about the mind. So the mind creates everything there. Create the illusion, create reality, and so forth. Look at the room here, right? Except the earth, right? Everything's made by human mind, or human effort. So that's what is stuff from the mind. Even computer and so forth, nothing's come from, it get dropped out from heaven, but everything's from the human mind, human creation. And one mind contains 2,000 words. One mind can elaborate all kind of things. All kind, whether it's good or bad, right? If good, it can be beneficial. If bad, it can be harmful. Einstein somehow he developed atomic bomb, right? Is that right? Einstein, but he didn't have the the mind or the thought to harm others, but they utilize that kind of invention to kill 100,000 people. So this is start with the mind. And so one I want to emphasize. Let me skip this one. The three truths are the between, right? The conventional, right, and ultimate. We study about, right? Conventional means things happening in our daily life, right? Good, bad, black, white, and so forth. Ultimate truth is the pure mind. The middle one is the emptiness, has been things come and go. One thing I want to mention right here. Let me skip this one. Let me skip here. When Buddhism spread to China, or when Mahayana Buddhism start to spread, it have that type of idea. When you do meditation, you don't do it for yourself or for your own benefit. You do for others. You help others. That's what we call the compassionate thought. It's quite different from the Theravada traditions. So that's why I like to emphasize today that in Theravada traditions, yes, you attain the first level, second level, up to 4 and even up to 8 level of jhana, but for your own benefit. But in the Mahayana Buddhist practice, well, whichever practice you do, especially meditation, you need to think about others. You need to transfer the merit, you need to transfer the energy to people. Here, this is I will take approach numerous living beings. I want to conduct the endless affliction. I want to study the countless Amador. I want to realize the supreme Buddha way. So this is the voices that even nowadays you can hear many Buddhist people decide that. So the whole idea is that like when you do practice of meditation and you share your energy, good energy, a wholesome energy with others, it's not for yourself. So that whenever things happen, you have the ability, the inclination to help others. For example, while you sit in meditation, it doesn't mean that you selfish. But when you're done with your meditation, to go to school, to go to work, you share that energy with others. You share that kind of peacefulness, that kind of calmness with others. That's what that is about. And of course, you can help others to calm their mind too. Let's say some of you working, right? And what happened when at work, when some of your co-workers or supervisor or whoever have so much emotion, it may affect your work too, right? And vice versa. You understand that's what we call interdependent web of life. So if you share that kind of peacefulness and happiness with others, it will be helpful for you too, right? If you could guide them how to calm their mind, guide them how to count the breath, and so forth, to calm at that particular moment, the moment that they may be angry, you say, oh, calm down, take the breath and count your breath and so forth. It will be helpful. Otherwise, if they mess up, right? If they have, if they're angry, if they, whichever emotion they have, it will affect the whole groups or the whole community. So that's what about. That is the whole idea. So this is the other thing. The skillful means there's many ways for the Buddhist people according to him. The skillful means when you do meditation, when you practice, you have to be flexible. What is meaning? You not have to be rigid about that. Right. Okay, and you have to know what penetrate and what obstruct, or what support, what things can support you, what things can obstruct you to do meditation. That is what they mean there. Okay, yeah, and this is similar. It's similar in the repetition, but still the main difference is when we have that kind of practice, when we have a kind of benefits, a comment and so forth, we want to share with others. That's a big difference. But the principle is the same. Okay. This is some what do you call some methods, some ways how to deal with the problem. For example, if one mind, if one mind is prevailed with the 3 points, remember, greed, hatred, and spirit, one should use count the breath as antidote. If one counting is lost, one need to count from the beginning. And I told you, when you count from 1 to 10, but in process of counting, you get lost, you go back to 1. You don't need to argue with yourself, you don't need to fight with your mind, you don't need that. You get back with the nature of your counting. If one is harsh, let's say not woman, but in general, right? It's impurity that we learn for the monks so forth. And if one is attached to hatred, one should apply compassion as antidote. That's what we learned before, right? We generate the compassion toward other people. If for wrongview, condemnation on negotiation as antidote. If sleepiness arises, obstruction to the path, one should chant the name of the Buddha. See, that's the approach. That's a bit different from last time when you saw they used the stick to hit the monk to wake him up, right? But this is many ways. I just want to give you this idea. Okay, and the same. It's same the way that you have to recognize your state of mind. You have to depend your karma. You have to pray to transfer the merit and so forth. Teach and help others. So that's the whole idea is about. Okay, peace. Okay, through the patient, peace through the patient recognition again. Whichever thing you do, you need to have that kind of patience. And even when you do the practice, you need to let go of your attachment. So that's the whole idea. There's just many ways. Let me go back to this thing. This is very important. The one I just upload on the blackboard. Did you have anyone of you read this part? This one here. The 6th gate in terms of sequential developments. You read this one?
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of the mindfulness meditation, especially the beginning steps of, like, for example, counting your breaths, and then eventually, and that being like the objects of your attention, and then focusing your breath being the object, and then
So, this is so practical. So I told you that unless you practice, it's useful. If you don't practice, somehow this is just perish. It may be boring. But still, if you practice, it's really interesting. So first one, we do the counting, right? Like you do counting from 1 to 10. For me, sometimes it's up to us. So it's, for me, sometimes. Most of the time I count from 1 to 10 and count back 10 to 1. Counting again to remember that we are following the breath. Even for many years, still working on that counting. It's not easy. Is that right? It's not easy. Within only, let's say, 5 minutes, you may get lost, right? So it's not easy. So that's why we need to do the counting. Not perfectly, but we need to count clearly from 1 to 10 and so forth. So the counting is the means, or the skillful means, for us to be mindful with the breath. That's an important thing. And what's meant by following then? What's meant following? You read that part?
it's where you're not so focused on counting as the object, but your breath. So you just become conscious of inhaling and exhaling. And yeah, so not so much focused on counting, just more being present in your breath.
So which one is more easy? Which one more easy to to practice then?
I would say the first one because it's more guided. It's
Yeah.
easier to get lost in the second.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy because if you don't count, you get lost easily because from morning to night, our mind have all kind of things, right? We worry about friends, we worry about family members, we worry about starting work and so forth, all kind of things here. So without counting, we get lost easily. Even while you sit here, right, you think about other things, you concern about other things, so that's why at first we need to count, right? So when you count, if you count, let's say 1 hour, 2 hours, and so forth, without listen the number, at that time you can let go the counting, and then the next step is following. You follow the breath, but if you cannot count it clearly, you cannot jump to this one here. Because if you jump here, you just sit there and waste your time. You can just let the mind go somewhere else. So that's the following is just follow the breath in and out clearly. It's like this sutra. The Buddha said that it's the sutra here, right? In this actually following, this is the step here. This step. This is the in and out breath in, long and short breath. The experience the whole body, calming the body formation. So actually this one here, this is a step here. Without the counting, you cannot come. That's why that Chinese monk he elaborate this kind of practice so that people can do step by step. If they jump here, it's not easy. It's not easy for you to recognize. Can you recognize now? Long breath and short breath? Probably a couple of minutes, not too long, right? Not to 5 minutes, right? Up to 5 minutes, 6 minutes and so forth, you might be ripped away because all kind of things, right? And the next step is stabilization. If you follow the breath carefully, right, and without missing them, with the importance to aware of everything, in or out with this one, express the rapture, pleasure, and so forth. With the following, and at that time you stabilize your mind. It means your mind would not need to follow or count, just stay there. Like I will show you that this video clip. It's like the underwater, right? Underwater, you see. It's just one example I want to show you. Alright. Don't worry about your sound, okay? So in the water, you see the water bottle there? Underneath of the sea or the pond, you see the water bottle. When it stops, it's small, still small. And when it pop up on the surface, what happens? It's a bit bigger. So I want to give this type of example so that you can understand. Here, here the wave. Here the wave of whichever water. The ocean, river, whichever, right? So at first we count. We count so that we know our breath, right, in and out, right? And later on we just follow the breath with all our awareness. And stabilization, that means we recognize that kind of calmness here. Some of you guys know how to swim, or most of you know how to swim. Have you ever dived down to the underneath the ocean?
Not the ocean.
The ocean?
That's too scary.
Too scary? About a river? No?
A
Like
river?
you dive all the way down. Like too much pressure.
Okay.
Can you?
Yeah, it's too much pressure. Or even swimming pool, right? But somehow they say that underneath of, that under the sea is so calm. Is it right? Whichever thing happening up here, right? The storm, the hurricane, and so forth, happen up here, not down here, especially under the ocean.
Don't you have like sharks and stuff like that? You have sharks and other stuff to worry about. in the water. That's what scares me, is all the stuff
Oh,
in, because you know you can't see something.
How about let's say man-made swimming pool then? How deep can they go?
Deep.
One here is like 20, 30 feet.
20, 30?
Yeah.
Can you dive down that?
Yeah.
You can?
It's just like they told me, it's like when they go all the way down there, the ears start to
You
pop.
pop. Yeah,
Yeah.
the deeper you go, they.
Yeah, and yeah, most of diver they have short life, right? Diver, most of them they have short life, right? Because it affects to the brain, right? Anyway, so my point is that it is like the mind down deep down here, deep down under beneath of the ocean. It's so calm, and start and at first you count the breath and you follow whichever in out, right? And you follow with your emotions. When you follow that, and I mean that when you recognize us, you let go of the counting. The next step is just follow the breath, right? Follow the breath in and out without missing. And the next one is stabilization. That you recognize the stabilization of the mind here. And here, let's say when you use a drop, alright, you throw into the pond. When that drop hit to the bottom of the pond, what happened then? What you see? Remember? Yeah. First one, so little, right? And eventually, bigger, 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 and pop here. So, when you stabilize your mind, especially when the swimming pool is calm, you can see through down to the bottom of the swimming pool. Especially when you threw that rock down here, and it's called stabilization of the mind. And the next one, contemplation. It's like all the things. It's like we contemplate about the body. Let's relate to here too. Contemplation, recognize the pleasure, the rapture, the mental fabrication, and so forth along the way. Like when you walk around the room, when you do walking meditation, you recognize the sensation in your body, you recognize the whole atmosphere, energy of the room, and you recognize people surround you. So that's what the contemplation. But the next step is turning. Turning means go back to the root. In Buddhist view, it's not the mind. Everything's come from the mind. You go back to root. And the last one, purification, that's mean it starts with your pure nature right here, with your awareness, or with your recognition here. So that's just the step that this monk, the Chinese monk, modify the way how people do meditation. This is a little bit different, but in the sense will be the same. So that's the step. Probably now it's just for your information. In the future, if you really serious in doing meditation, that's so important. You will not miss that. Yeah. Okay. How about let us do 3 minutes and can feel when can you follow the breath without counting, without missing the points. All right. Let me close the door. Okay, then let's say it's up to you. If you want to take out your paper, pen, it's up to you. That's your choice. But let's try, like when you came to my temple, let's try to see how long can you really focus on the counting without missing even a number. Okay, so 1 minute is too short, right? 2 minutes is okay, right?
I don't think we've tried 2 minutes. I think we went from 1 to 3.
Three.
We didn't try 2.
1 to 2, okay. Want to try 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, it's up to you. You want to mark it or you don't remember? It's up to you. Okay. Let's say within 2 minutes, see how many counting do you have. Buddha mission. So don't worry. If you miss count, don't worry. Nothing serious. It's just your practice. It's just how you concentrate your mind. It's how you train your mind. That's all. There's no good and bad, no pass and fail. Right? Don't worry about that. Okay? It's just for your own benefit. Okay, let's do 2 minutes then. Alright, sit with 2 minutes. Of course, when you tell me the number, it may be stressful for you too, right? You remember your number, okay? You need to spell out for me. And you see different. You see the difference, right? The first 2 minutes and the second 2 minutes is how it's different. How much concentration, skill do you have, okay? So relax yourself and keep track with your number. If you miss it, don't worry. Let's say you count from 1 to 5, somehow your mind dip away, so come back to 1. Don't worry, okay? It's for your benefit. Let me hit the bell. We start. Okay, so you know the number, right? The number that you count, right? You don't need to tell me, right? So let's do 2 more minutes and see the difference, right? To see whether you can keep track on that kind of number. So don't worry about that number. Just remember this is your own training, okay? To sharpen your mind. You see the difference between the first couple of minutes and the later couple of minutes? What's the difference?
My breaths reduced in the second one.
Huh?
My breaths reduced in the second one.
I had more breaths in the second one.
Okay, this is yourself. How about
Yeah, I also have less in the second one.
more,
No, less.
less?
You have more.
Have more, less? How you end up? You have more or less?
Less.
Huh?
Less.
Don't worry about that. What more or less is your body mechanism. It's 2 minutes is shorter than 3.
Yeah, I could feel the difference in time.
Is it different?
Yeah, I could feel it. I think 3 is a sweet spot. I like 3 is a perfect amount. 2 is too short still.
Too short, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try 3, okay? Try 3, then we see. It's long. You
Not
can
really.
concentrate. Huh?
Not really.
Oh, okay. You might drift away, or you can concentrate. We'll try 3 more minutes, okay? To see the difference, okay? We have time since we have time this class. So the sound bother you?
Yeah, that little bang like snapped me
How
out.
about the sound from the next class?
I didn't even hear it.
Me neither.
That's a pretty good sign for you. Yeah. Okay, let's start 3 more minutes. one is different.
I had more breaths.
More breath.
Mm-hmm.
I had less.
You have more or less.
Less.
How are you? You have less or more?
More.
I only got 6.
Oh, more or less.
6, yeah.
Less. Okay.
Way less.
Wow.
How about you? More or less? More. Okay. So you have more. Is the breath go in and out faster? Is that right? Or that's what happened?
I just think I doze off, so I have to recount.
That's okay.
Yeah.
No problem. Now, so the sound of the lectures with the professor next door would not bother you much.
I didn't hear it.
That's good then.
After you pointed it out, like at the beginning, I could hear it, but then eventually I didn't hear it anymore
You know why?
because I was focused.
Yeah, that's so simple. That's so helpful. If you have what you call stage fright, right? When you stand in front of even thousand or 100 people, what happens then? One of them move, it may disturb your mind. You may change your subject, right? If they show the approval of whatever you say, you feel more released. You feel that you have more energy, right? But what happens if one of them show the sign that they disapprove whatever you say? You feel more depressed. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why with this kind of mind training, whichever people do, you stand there. If you are a teacher, you are a professor, you are supervisor, and so forth. You have your own confidence. Whichever people say, whichever people, whether they approve or disapprove, that's their problems. You know yourself what you want to present, what you want to say. But of course, at first you need to train that mind, right? So when you really focus on your breath, they don't bother you too much. Is that right? If you don't have that kind of mind training, focus on your mind, it's just a lot of distraction. When taking the test too, when you're driving too. Right? So that's why this is like mind training is still important. So at first, even 3 minutes, some of you may miscount too, right? Right? Did you miscount it or you count?
Yeah.
No, so no problem. That's just the training. Again, why we miscounted then? Why?
Why what?
Why we miscounted?
Well, I got distracted.
Yeah, that's all.
That's
That's just normal. That's normal for everyone, even me. Until we purify the mind. Otherwise, there's too many obstructions. I told you guys. There's just the thought dominations and the sleepiness. There are two main obstructions. So when we really focus on the counting and we follow the breath. But if we skip this one, there's no way. There's no way to recognize in and out breath easily. There's no way. It's pure heart. That's why he elaborates the ways so that people can follow step by step. Right? And one thing I want to mention today, since we have a lot of time, so you know, in the West they don't talk much about the side effect of meditation. But in this book, in this manual, this monk he mentioned clearly some kind of side effect that you need to recognize, especially in this class. This is for your own informations. Let me see here. Go back down here. So let's say when you inhale and exhale, if you don't do it in natural way, you will have that kind of side effect. He said that treating disorder is some kind of side effect. You may need to know. I upload this book on the blackboard, and of course, now you may not see it's necessary, but when you really do practice, you need to read this self disorder. It's just, let's say earth If the red urge is increased, your body will be swollen, submersion in heavy. You can feel that heaviness in your body. And if the water increases, you feel that they have more fluid in your body. You lack of fluid. Your drinking may not be digested properly and so forth. Especially this one here. If you don't know how to harmonize the fire, the fire in your body, you may feel sometimes feel too cold, sometimes it may feel so warm, so hot. Have you had that kind of experience yet? Not yet, probably not yet. But let's say if you sit for, I think at least 1 or 2 hours, above 1 or 2 hours, you can recognize us. Remember, you saw the clip that the Tibetan monk covered with the wet clothes, right? And this is and they dry away the clothes, right? Because when you really focus in your mind on your breath or whichever object of your concentration, you will generate that heat. You will generate that that warmness, or you can say that fire. If you don't know how to harmonize us, it is scary at first. And many people, they told me that too, and it happened to me too. Yeah, so you need to recognize it's normal. When you really focus your mind, eventually your breath, if you harmonize, if you tune your breath and your blood circulation, if your blood will circulate well in your body, it generates the heat, it generates the harmonious, it generates what we call is the fire. So normal, it's normal. So, but if you recognize, you can accept, otherwise it's scary. And even sometimes, you know, this happened to many people, even to me too, when we sit for a while, it's sweating. You don't,
I get really clammy hands after like a while.
Bit a bit. If we sweating, this is good side too. You know, when we do exercise, right? When you work out, right? When you lift weight, whichever, when you do physical exercise, you sweating too, right? But when you sit here, nobody would not. You would, unless this room is too hot, right? But it is in this type of temperature, right? 70, 75, we would have that type of sweating problems. But when even in the cold place, like that type of Tibetan monks, right? They generate that heat and that type of warmness, a type of fire, that's within themselves. This zone is normal. That's why they have that type of sweating. And it's good side too. When we sweating, we dispose, right, all kind of toxins out of our body. So eventually, probably you may not recognize, but eventually when you sit longer, you see that. And sometimes sometimes it's too cold too. But if you sit for a while, your body will be warm. And the wind, especially this one here, it's happened to me. When I first practice meditation, I didn't know that. I tried to inhale and exhale hardly and make the sound, you know, in and out, so that I can refocus around my shoulder points, and later on this be heavy. And it's like you know, you blow the balloon, right? The more you blow, the more the balloon expands. So there is the mind. If you inhale and exhale, let's say you use your pause to inhale and exhale, you may deplete the air, or you may have more air in your body. It may create problems. It just take me many months, not one day, to readjust that. And I wish at that time that I would have some type of guidance, but at that time I didn't have any kind of knowledge about meditation. I just had to sit there. So later on, I learned from the past, from this type of teaching, and made that type of judgment. So it's not easy. So this is kind of sad that this come from outside. But because we don't breathe in and out naturally, that's why it's have the side effect. That's why I told you that you don't need to do anything. The more you do, the more problem you have. Just sit there and be aware of your breath. Just follow your breath or count your breath, that's all. But if you really inhale hardy, or if you exhale, you can let the sound and so forth, that's the sign that you have some kind of problem physically in the future. So the best way, again, just follow the breath in normal way, in naturally, and let the body does that its jobs. The job of harmonizes the air, the warmness, and so forth in our body, and we'll be more healthy. So that's why I think this is pretty good instruction. It's like a manual. It's very valuable. If you do practice, if you do meditation for many years, it's very important manual for you. And this is talk about this the 5 core organs too. So let's talk about, let's say when you feel hot or cold, may affect to your heart. It may affect to your brain. You may feel headache. You may become very painful and so forth. So he explained actually using some type of Taoist elements here to explain how the breath meditation may affect to your organs, to your brain. But of course, right? We have seen the clips, right? That whenever we focus our mind, it changes the shape of our brain. It changes the chemical, neutron and so forth in our brain. So that's why it may affect to the liver, it may affect to the splendor, kidney and so forth. And sometimes, if you meditate well, you don't feel thirsty. If you sit there properly, you won't feel thirsty. Probably you don't know why, but because your whole body mechanism produce that kind of immune system or that kind of food within yourself. You know some story about some people, they stay in the desert, a mountain for many days, for many months without eating, right? And even for us too, we live in this kind of environment, this kind of weather, we feel more comfortable. What happens if one day we go to the North Pole? Let's say go to Alaska. Have you been to Alaska before? No, it's too cold, right? Even in the summer. Let's say one day you sleep. Let's say if you travel to New York during the winter times. Have you been there?
I'm going.
You going?
Excited.
So most of the time you spend here, right? But this is for your visit. So how could you adapt to that type of coldness?
Wear jackets.
Yeah, it's just the body mechanism does its job. Of course, unless it's so extreme that we cannot handle the temperature, but at least we have the heater and so forth. But still, we have the kind of adaptation skill when we go to that kind of coldness area, or even when you go to Thailand, tropical Thailand country, like Thailand, Vietnam and so forth, it's still hot. Even in the winter too, it's still hot and warm there. You may feel sweating most of the times. My point is how our body mechanism has kind of skill, has that kind of what we call built-in adaptations. So that's why when you do breath meditation in a mindful way, in a skillful way, and in a proper way too, so somehow it will develop some kind of immune system, some kind of nutrition like itself. So that's why this probably you may not understand. Many monks they may sit in meditation for days, for months, or for years because of that kind of concentration. And of course, unless you focus, unless you practice, you would not understand that. Right? So anyway, so there's a lot of things There's this monk Chi he mentioned about, and of course I mentioned that too. This is just it's happened to the body, happened to the organs. With some particular sutra, as mentioned that the Shuma Sutra, the Buddha said too. It may affect your mentality. It may affect your spiritual life too. So you need to. The key is to let go of everything. Whichever happened, just let go of them. You'll be free. That's the key. Right? Okay, so as of today, I'd like to go over briefly about the Chinese modifications of the samathas and vipassana in their own ways. That's just they pick. That they put some utilize some Taoist elements into the practice. This is helpful, depending upon how we utilize them. Okay, and later on, if you practice, I think this kind of books will be the menu for you to follow. Okay, so any questions? How about the reading?
The reading I think it was about like the Chinese, the reading with the Chinese, the Tao and stuff. That was a little confusing for me.
Which one? This one?
No, I haven't read that one yet. It was the Chinese.
Oh, okay. You mean that?
The school?
Yeah, I
The
think
koan.
so.
The school,
Cao Dong
I
school,
see. The
yeah.
koan and so forth. Okay. Cao Dong and Rinjai and Soto, right?
Yeah,
A little bit confusion.
it was a little bit. Yeah. I didn't understand it too.
Oh, so last time I told you guys, right? Remember? So don't mess up between the term, right? So we have here Cao Dong. It starts in Chinese, right? Right? And Soto. Soto in Japanese, right? Rinji in Chinese, and Rinzai in Japanese, right? Okay, so this both of them develops, I think, in the 8th and 9th century, and this one late, probably 12th or 13th century in Japan, right? And the one who developed this one is Dogen. And the one who developed this school is Dongshan. Yeah, of course, unless you learn Chinese, sometimes it's just the confusion with the words, right? Okay. So if you understand that, and Cao Dong more in graduate way, and Rinji is more sun way, sun awakening. Okay. So that's why I think after this course you see the whole spectrum of Buddhist meditation from early times up to now. You have the whole idea, and this is for your information for your life too. Okay? Alright, so we'll see you in this Thursday then. And yes, if you have problem, let me know.